Other local news, the Rockford Family Initiative hosts its 4th annual Walk for Family and Life. They march outside and around Rockford City Hall to inform the community on the negative impacts of abortion. This walk comes nearly 2 years after the U.S. Supreme Court overturns its Roe v. Wade decision, ending a woman's constitutional right at the federal level to have an abortion. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said a woman's right to an abortion is safe and legal in Illinois. Organizers of this event say they usually have at least 100 people come together to say all unborn children deserve to have a life.
The people of Rockford, if we unite in love and kindness and charity for mothers and babies, we can protect children from abortion and help mothers have the resources, love, friendship that they need to raise their children in a community that appreciates and loves them.
Winnebago County Citizens for Choice will host a fundraiser for abortion rights candidates at 5:30 p.m. Monday at Unitarian Universalist Church of Rockford. An event organizer says a woman's right to have an abortion is not a religious or political thing because it's about health care. Planned Parenthood of Illinois has seen a near 50% increase in abortion care patients since Roe v. Wade was overturned 2 years ago on Monday.
When they have an emergency, like an ectopic pregnancy or something like that, and then they're denied care in a hospital because they're in a state where it's not allowed, that's criminal.